What is going on, everybody? We are here talking about, can Joshua Dobbs take the Vikings to the playoffs? If you asked me this question back before the year even started, it would be without question no. But he's been absolutely fantastic this season, even with the Cardinals, where he wasn't obviously not winning too many games. But the Vikings are a team that's poised to make a playoff run. They might not have the best defense, they might not have some of the best pieces, but they are a relatively stacked team ready to make a playoff run. And Dobbs played extremely well on little to no notice. He is one of the smartest guys probably in the NFL, to be completely honest with you. I mean, the guy's an absolute genius. I think he's literally a rocket scientist. But what he was able to do this last Sunday for the Minnesota Vikings, comeback victory, not knowing the playbook, not even ever taking a snap with the starting center, is an absolute miracle on his part. Josh Dobbs does deserve the respect that he could be a guy who can lead the Vikings to the playoffs. And like I said, it was a crazy thought. And even now, if you were to tell me Joshua Dobbs, after all I know through the season, except for the playoff standings, I don't know where anybody is in the standings whatsoever, and you told me the Vikings were 5-4, Joshua Dobbs is their quarterback for the rest of the season, do I think that they can make the playoffs? I would tell you no. But knowing the standings, I think it's a yes. I mean, who else is going to really battle for that 7th seed against the Vikings? Let's be completely honest here. If you looked at the standings, I'm pretty sure the 8th seed under 500. It's Washington at 4-5. So the realistic thought is he just has to be good enough to get you there. He's played well. He's played well enough, I think, to win. You should be getting Justin Jefferson back in maybe a week or two. I know it's far-fetched to see him come back in week 10 here, but I think Josh Dobbs could very easily get the Vikings into the 7th seed. They are a team that had playoff aspirations coming into the season, and now I think Joshua Dobbs is going to solidify those playoff expectations by dragging this team to the playoffs at this point. An absolute crazy story. If you told me this at the beginning of the year, there would be no way. I did not have Joshua Dobbs possibly taking the Vikings, of all teams, because he wasn't even on the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins was on the Vikings, to the playoffs. It was an absolute crazy mindset that we have right now. We are living in the absolutely crazy world that Joshua Dobbs, I mean, I remember him playing for Pittsburgh, was not very good. He was okay with the Titans last year when he got traded there. Cardinals, he's been pretty good. And in fact, he's one of the few people who's been able to actually put up against the Ravens. Now, granted, that was mostly during garbage time, but he did still put up, I think, like 24 points against Baltimore, which only 3 teams that has played Baltimore this season has been able to put up 20-plus points. And one of them was the Bengals. I mean, one of the best teams. And I think another team barely put up 20 points, just barely. So I think, honestly, he could very easily take this team to the playoffs. But my biggest question is, why did the Jets make this trade? Were they that? I think, he was traded for a 5th-round draft pick to the Cardinals? Were the Jets that in love with their 5th-round draft pick that they couldn't try to make a push? With the Jets defense and their offensive pieces, all he had to do is hold out until possibly Rodgers returns this year. I know he keeps heading towards it. He's been showing up to these things. I don't fully buy in that Rodgers is going to play again this year, but if he did, all he had to do was hold out, and it would have been a better option than Zach Wilson. So why did the Jets make this decision? But all 4 of the Vikings making it. I don't know if it's the greatest decision, because I think if they make the playoffs, you either have to trade up in the draft, or you probably have to re-sign Kirk and keep running it back with him. But at the end of the day, the NFL team want to be competitive. And given some of these offensive firepowers in TJ Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson and now Jordan Addison, you kind of want to stay competitive through and through all year long. So I can see why the Vikings made this trade. I just wonder why the Jets didn't. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But I do believe that Joshua Dobbs could take this team to the playoffs if he keeps playing this well. I don't think he has to do much. Finish 500. Well, I guess you can't do that now that there's 17 games. So finish one game over 500. Hell, you might be able to finish one game under 500 because the Commanders traded away pieces, and nobody else really in the NFC is a threat. I'm pretty sure your 7 playoff spots are basically a lock outside of maybe one of the South teams figuring it out, but they're all so poorly coached that there's no way I think any of those guys get past the Vikings in this situation. So I wouldn't be shocked if Joshua Dobbs takes the Vikings to the playoffs. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is a little bit of a shorter video because just something I kind of want to talk about, something I had on my mind. See you guys in the next one.